I'd like to discuss my viewpoints on the problem of moral decline. A lot of evidence shows that today's society is in a state of moral decline. We see a lot of television shows, movies, video games, music lyrics, and music videos that all show that today's society is not dealing well with the issues of morality. Two things that they show a lot in a lot of the popular entertainment today. One is murder. A lot of the television shows that we watch for entertainment glorify murder in the content that they display. We tend to idolize a lot of the characters that we see in the movies and TV shows that commit murder all the time, as if to say it's the act of nature, it's something that happens all the time, or it's something to be taken lightly. We see a lot of things on the news and in our newspapers that we read from around the world that shows murder and these acts of violence all the time, and they tend to hurt us when we see these things. However, we'll watch movies or things of that nature that will glorify this. In a lot of video games, the violence is so graphic that we tend to rate how well entertaining something is by the amount of violence or the killing in it. And so all this killing, we just put it as blanket as murder, and that's basically what it is. Another thing that they glorify is things having to do with sexual content, whether it's just showing people having sex or discussing things with sexual connotations in it. And again, the use of things having to do with sex or sexual content as comedy, so that we don't want to look at something else as being funny unless it has something having to do with sex. And this is the state of affairs that today's world is in when it comes to our entertainment, and this is what shows this moral decline. What are some things that are being done today, or some of the ideas that people have that are promoting or adding fuel to this moral decline? Well, one thing is selfishness. As we see people that they don't have something that they want, they've got to have it. I'm going to get mine is kind of the idea that people have, and so this has really had a lot to do with that moral breakdown. And as each generation comes along, things continue to get worse. 20, 30 years ago, things were considered bad that 10, 15 years down the line it wasn't. And then again, another 10 or 15 years down the line, it's not so bad. And so as each generation progresses along, these things continue to escalate, get worse, as we accept more things that perhaps we didn't some years back. Another aspect too that adds fuel to this fire is greed. And I know this goes along with selfishness, but not really. They're two separate entities, even though they sort of work off of each other. Greed is another aspect of this moral decline. And these are some of the things that are being glorified, or some of these characters idolized in our entertainment are some of the most greedy people in the world. And this is part of what's happening to today's society. And this is what's bringing about this moral decline. So, what are some of the things that we can do that could alleviate this problem? Well, there's no solution that can happen overnight. We know this. This didn't happen overnight, so consequently, the solution to it's not going to happen overnight. However, there's a lot of things that we can do on a daily basis that, as individuals, if we all do them together, can help reverse these effects. We can't take away what has happened, but we can certainly help out and perhaps reverse some of the damage that we've continued to do. It's not our fault that the moral decline is what it is today, and it wasn't our parents' fault, but it's just something that's happened down the line progressively. So some of the things that we can do are to be able to settle down and relax. Don't always want to be first. Don't push to get into the line. Don't push to get that parking spot. Don't rush to get mad every time somebody questions us about something. If somebody gets in our way, instead of getting mad and getting in their face, say, "Excuse me." Another thing that we can do is to use the word "thank you" a lot more than we do, or at least to actually mean it when we say it, or to say "I'm sorry." That's two of the most simple words that you can ever say, but people don't want to say it, or people find it very hard to say. Try using that sometimes somebody makes you mad. Instead of glorifying somebody that gets ticked off and wants to grab a gun and start blowing people's heads off, why not show somebody that could actually take these kind of things in life, and instead of getting upset and worked up and uptight about it, be able to calm down and say, "I'm sorry that I upset you." We know that this is not going to happen with everybody, but each and every one of us can make an impact on society one at a time. These things aren't going to be reversed in our lifetime, but as we continue to utilize these things in our life now, as each new generation comes along, perhaps it'll get a little bit better, to where eventually sometime in the future, instead of it getting worse, perhaps things will get better. But it takes the individual effort. And these are just my viewpoints of the